I love magic, and I like to use magic tricks as a great way to explain how creativity and innovation works. Now, I wouldn't call myself a magician. I don't have a goatee. And whilst I have a beautiful wife, I don't backstab her, nor do I allow her to tie me up. I'd like to read her mind, and I'd like to be able to disappear in meetings. So what does a magician do? Do they really pierce people? Can they read minds? Can they escape the unescapable? Maybe there's a great metaphor that magic has to do with creative thinking, because magic works on the concept of disillusion, of distraction, and focusing in a particular area. Let's have a look at a simple card trick. Now, normally what I would do is I would make sure that the audience member will look through the cards to make sure it is a normal pack of cards. I would then take the cards and I would drop them in my hand until someone yells out stop, and they may yell out stop anywhere in the pack, and I would take the card off that pack, I would hold it up, and then I would drop the card back into the pack, put my cards on top, and watch carefully with a simple flick and a magic blow, and taking the top card off the top and rubbing it on my arm, it comes right through to the surface. And again, we look at the card trick to make sure that the pack is a normal pack of cards. So what is magic? All a magician does is he has his audience focus in a particular area while he or she is working outside that area. And magic is very similar to creative thinking. You see, most people, when they're looking at solving problems, are forced to think into a particular box, a particular area. But a creative thinker moves outside that area to look for solutions in other places. You see, we like to think we're rational creatures, but many behavioural scientists can show that we actually simply use our rational brains to convince ourselves of what we want to know. Therefore, we look for solutions in the areas that we feel most comfortable with and we feel most familiar with. Now, I first saw this card trick in a street magician in a market stall in Indonesia. He had the whole family amazed at what he was able to do. What was he doing? He was simply using distraction, he was using different focus, and he was using a little bit of deceit. What a magician does is a magician gets you to focus in a particular area while he or she is working in a much larger area. Now, this is very similar to creative thinking. Whilst most people are trying to solve a problem here, where the audience tells you, where the society tells you, where the company tells you, where your education tells you to solve a problem, a creative thinker is able to solve the problem and look for solutions in a far greater area. Let's have a look at another magic trick, one of my favourite ones, where I ask the audience member, I ask someone to stand up who I've never met before, never seen and never spoken to before. And what you'll see here is I actually ask him to write down a 3-digit number, and then using my magic, I will get him to mentally transfer it to me, at which case I will then write down a 3-digit number, and when we hold them up, they are identical. To make sure this trick works properly and has a great effect, I will do the reverse. I will then write down a 3-digit number, and then I will ask my audience member, who may be a distance from me, to write down the first 3 numbers that comes into his mind. With 100% accuracy, we've both written down the same answer. But is that really magic, or am I doing something that I've forced the audience to not look at? Now, Josh, if you can pull this off, you don't need to stay for the rest of the session. And I'll explain why. You see, I'm going to get inside your brain, and scarily enough, you're going to get inside my brain. I want you to think of a 3-digit number. No, a little bit harder. No comedy, this is serious stuff, Josh. Come on. Let's get it. Yes, I think I've got it. All right, Josh, could you tell me your number and show it to the people up the back? Hold it up without showing, without telling me. It's going to make it bigger. I hope you're not going to change it, Josh, because we've already communicated. Okay, hold it up and tell it to me. Don't show me, tell it to me. Tell it to me. What is it?
321.
Sorry, 321. Could you read that number for me, please, Josh? What does that number say, Josh?
It says 321.
You've never met before? You've never met before? You've never talked before, is that right? Thank you, you can leave. I'll download dump you. This is not a setup trick. You can.
92.
Could you read that number out for me, please?
144.
Get out of here.
That's amazing.
It is, it is.
The power.
I'm actually going to, because at the moment I can read all your thoughts, and believe me, you don't want to do that, it's pretty scary. But right now, Brett, for you to leave for the rest of the 2 hours, you have to read my thoughts. I'm going to think of a 3-digit number, I'm going to transmit it to you, and then you're going to write down the first 3 digits that come into your mind. Are you ready? Oh, and only when I say so, I want you to just think of the first 3 digits that come into your mind and immediately write them down. You ready? What were they?
236.
Sorry?
2336.
Could you read that blank piece of paper out for me? Show it to the camera.
236. We've never
Right.
even met each other.
So see you later.
See you.
Thank you, Brett.
Thank you.
Now in this case I had the audience all around me. I even had people behind me. Sometimes it's easy to do magic tricks up on stage. I even gave the camera, as I do always, to one of the participants to make sure that the camera work wasn't rigged. And yet with 100% accuracy again, the magician was able, in this case me, to predict or guess, maybe I implanted the thoughts into his mind, or he or I could read his mind, these things with perfect accuracy. Let's try one more trick. I'm going to show you 4 aces, and I'd like you to memorize them: the ace of diamonds, spades, hearts, and clubs. I'm going to take those 4 aces and just simply put them straight on top of the pack. I'm then going to put the ace of diamonds there, spades, the ace of clubs there, finally the hearts there. And on top of the hearts, I will put 3 more cards. I'll put 3 more cards on this one, 3 cards on the clubs, and 3 cards on the diamonds. I will then take this normal pack of cards and put them aside. At this stage, I would ask the audience to choose 2 packs, and let's say, for example, they may choose the center 2 packs. I will remove them, put them on top of the pack of cards. I will then ask the audience to choose another pile, and let's say, for example, they will choose this pile. That leaves us just with the ace of spades. Or does it? Because right in front of their eyes, we end up with the 4 aces, clubs, the ace of hearts, the ace of spades, and the ace of diamonds, with again, no other aces in the packet of cards. Right in front of a live audience, it works foolproof every time, and people can stand all around us. That's how powerful misdirection can actually be. If you didn't look outside the magic box while the magician was imposing his thoughts on you and forcing you to think inside a particular area or parameters, then maybe a rewinding of the video or starting to think carefully by asking questions may help you solve that problem. Is it really possible for me to read someone's mind? Is it really possible for me to place 3 digits into their mind, or to bring an ace to the top? It starts by asking questions. Because by asking questions, it will force us to think outside where we normally go. So did I plant the thought into his mind, or did I read his mind in this particular case? Or is there another possible answer lurking somewhere outside the box that the magician wants you to think in? Organisations and societies tend to have an en masse view of the way we solve problems, in which the majority buy into. It takes the creative ability of someone to see outside that particular worldview. We are tainted by our surroundings, often not able to see things as they really are, because we're forced to think in a particular direction. To be creative, we need to stand back and strip off these barriers and start looking in a different area. For example, if I take 2 rings and put them together, immediately they're joined. I take another 2 rings and put them together that normally are not, and right in front of your eyes and right in front of other people, they can be joined. But my all-time favourite trick is not so much the 3 rings, which is a very, very simple one and been around for a long time. But my all-time favourite trick is this one. I take 5 shapes, and you'll see me do this with an audience around the world. A circle, a square, a star, a cogwheel, and a cross. Now I want you to look at these 5 shapes very, very carefully as we look at the circle, the square, the star, the cogwheel, and the cross. Look at them carefully and start to think, if I was to ask you to choose one of these shapes, which shape would you choose? Now it blows people away when I ask them to do this, and then ask them if they chose the star. But what makes it more interesting is whatever shape they chose, is I then ask them to look under their chair, and under their chair is the shape that I chose, or what they chose. Did I choose it, or did they choose it? Magic is a fascinating thing. But is it really magic, Or am I just, again, getting people to think inside a certain box while I operate outside it? Because that's what creative thinking does. You choose one. Do not tell me out loud. Okay, you ready? Have you chosen one? You sure? Okay, he's chosen one. Did you choose the star? You chose the star. There's a piece of paper under the tablecloth. Show the camera.
This is magic.
This is magic. Thank you very much. Did you choose the star? Could you look under your seat, please? Look under your seat. What does that mean, Lee? Star. Would you show everyone? Show everyone. Now what I want you to do is go over to my jacket over there. Just walk over to my jacket. And I want you to look inside the inside pocket of my suit jacket. Piece of paper. Let's just come over here. This is the one you chose. Is that right?
Things we all chose the same thing.
You mean I infected a lot of you? All right, I guess I suppose my question is, what is magic? Creative thinking truly thinks outside the box. I know it's an overused saying, but in terms of a magician, to be creative, be like the magician and think way outside where everyone else is. And while society is forcing you to think in a particular area, go outside. I don't want you to tie your wife up. You don't have to grow a goatee, and nor should you be stabbing people in the back. But you can think creatively by looking for solutions in places where most other people are not looking.
Thank you.